Close your eyes for a moment. Just breathe, slowly, gently. Let your mind settle. Now imagine this. It's early in the morning, long before the city wakes up. Your home is quiet, wrapped in a soft blue tone that comes right before sunrise. You stand in your hallway with your small suitcase by your feet. Everything feels calm, light, unhurried. Today you're finally traveling to Switzerland. You take one last look around your home. The familiar walls, the soft shadows, the stillness. You lock the door behind you, and as it clicks shut, you feel something shift inside you. A quiet excitement, but also a soothing sense of release. The world you know stays behind the door. Ahead of you, a new one softly waits. You step outside. The air is cool, just enough to wake you gently. The street is empty, washed in the pale glow of streetlights. Your breath comes out in a faint cloud, and for a moment you simply stand there, listening to the silence. This is the start of your journey, and it already feels peaceful. Your ride to the airport arrives, and you settle into the seat. The city slides past your window. Quiet buildings, sleeping houses, empty intersections. Everything looks different at this hour, as if the world is holding its breath. You lean your head against the glass and let the rhythm of the road lull you into a dreamy state. You're not quite awake, not quite asleep, just floating. At the airport, soft yellow lights welcome you. Everything is calm, almost whisper quiet. People move slowly, like they're drifting through warm sunlight. You check in, drop your luggage, and receive your boarding pass. On it, Zürich. Just seeing the name fills you with a warm, gentle curiosity. Mountains, lakes, old towns, quiet trains, warm cafes. All waiting for you. You make your way to the gate. The large windows reveal a hint of dawn, just the edge of pink brushing against the darkness. Aircraft lights blink softly in the distance. You sit, close your eyes again, and imagine the snowy Alps stretching out beneath the sky. You're almost there. Just a few more breaths. Boarding begins. You find your seat, settle in, and listen to the low hum of the cabin. As the engines come alive, there's a soft vibration, steady and reassuring. The plane rolls forward, gathering speed, and with a gentle lift, you leave the ground. The world below becomes smaller, softer, just a pattern of lights fading into clouds. You lean back. The cabin lights dim. Clouds drift beneath you like slow waves. Somewhere far ahead, Switzerland waits. Quiet, serene, timeless. For now, you simply rest, floating through the early morning sky, letting the soft promise of snow-capped mountains pull you forward. Your journey has begun. The gentle chime of the cabin lights wakes you. It's not abrupt. It feels almost like someone softly touching your shoulder. You open your eyes to see a faint golden glow spreading through the plane. The sun has risen while you were drifting in and out of sleep, and now it paints the cabin with a warm, creamy light. Outside the window, the clouds part slowly, like curtains revealing a quiet stage. And there it is. The first glimpse of Switzerland. You see delicate hints of snowy peaks piercing through the blanket of white. They rise so still, so majestic that for a moment you forget to breathe. The Alps look as if they're floating, suspended between sky and earth, ancient and eternal. The pilot speaks in a calm tone, announcing the descent into Zürich. The plane tilts gently, and the world below becomes clearer. Winding rivers glistening like silver threads, clusters of tidy houses, rolling green fields that look as if they've been brushed smooth by a careful hand. Everything feels precise, peaceful, almost unreal. You touch down with barely a bump. The aircraft glides along the runway, slowing until the engines exhale a final long sigh. You've arrived. Stepping off the plane, you're greeted by the unmistakable Swiss stillness. Not silence. Just a quiet that feels intentional, designed, almost crafted. Zurich Airport is bathed in soft, warm lights that make the entire place glow like a morning dream. People move calmly, not rushing, as if time here breathes differently. You follow the signs, clean, minimal, guiding you with gentle confidence. On your right, large glass windows reveal the distant mountains, still dusted with snow. On your left, you pass shops filled with wooden crafts, chocolates arranged like jewels, and watches ticking with soft precision. At passport control, the officer offers a polite nod. No hurry, no tension. Just a simple, smooth welcome. When you finally step into the arrivals hall, you feel it fully. The air here is different. Crisp, pure, cool enough to refresh you instantly. It fills your lungs the way mountain air should. Quietly, deeply, without effort. You walk toward the exit doors, and as they slide open, Zurich greets you with its gentle morning embrace. The sky is a pale, milky blue. The breeze carries the faint scent of pine, damp earth, and distant snow. Feels like the world inviting you to slow down. In front of you, trams glide across the city like soft whispers. Blue and white, smooth and elegant. Their gentle hum blends perfectly with the calm rhythm of the street. You hear no honking, no rushing footsteps, just the quiet pulse of a city that has mastered serenity. You take a moment to simply stand there, feeling the cool air on your face. You've made it. You're here. And somehow, without even exploring yet, Zurich already feels like a place where your thoughts can loosen, where your breathing naturally slows, where your mind can drift into a softer kind of awareness. Your journey into Switzerland truly begins now. You pull your suitcase gently behind you as you follow the signs toward the airport train station. The corridor is wide and quiet, illuminated by soft lights that seem to glow rather than shine. Everything feels organized, effortless, almost as if the airport is guiding you with a calming hand on your shoulder. When you reach the platform, the first thing you notice is the silence. Not the absence of sound, but the presence of calm. A polished metal bench, a gentle breeze drifting through the station, and in the distance, the faint hum of a train approaching. You look around. Everyone moves slowly, peacefully, as if nobody is in a hurry to be anywhere except exactly where they are. Then you see it, the train sliding into the station. It's smooth, quiet, painted in cool shades of white and deep blue. The doors open with a soft hiss. You step inside, and the warm, muted interior wraps around you like a blanket. You sit by the window. The seat is soft, comfortable, made for travelers who want to see the world without rushing through it. The train begins to move, gliding out of the station with barely a vibration. And then the landscape reveals itself. Zurich feels like a watercolor painting come to life. As you ride toward the city center, you see clusters of houses with warm wooden facades, their roofs dusted lightly with snow. Pine trees stand tall along the hills, their dark silhouettes softened by the morning mist. The lake appears like a sheet of glass, smooth, reflective, catching the sky's pale colors. You watch the scenery drift by, slow and steady. Feels like someone gently turning the pages of a picture book for you. Every moment reveals a new detail. A quiet walking path by the water, a lone cyclist following the curve of the lake, a row of boats bobbing gently at their docks as if half asleep. Inside the train, everything hums in a serene rhythm. A soft voice announces the next station. The lights above cast a warm, golden glow. Across the aisle, an older couple sits close together, reading a shared map. A child presses her forehead against the glass, leaving a tiny misty circle with each breath. These small moments, these quiet snapshots of life, blend perfectly into the dreamy mood of your journey. The train makes a gentle curve, and suddenly Zurich's old town comes into view. Rooftops stacked like storybook illustrations, church towers rising with elegant simplicity, and narrow streets weaving between buildings painted in soft pastels. The city feels old yet alive, peaceful yet full of stories. As the train slows into Zurich Hauptbahnhof, the main station, you notice how clean, warm, and inviting everything looks. The station itself feels almost like a grand hall, filled with tall arches and soft echoes. When the doors open, you step out into the smooth rhythm of Swiss life. People walk calmly, their footsteps almost synchronized with the quiet hum of the station. You pause for a moment, letting the atmosphere settle into you. Zurich isn't loud, isn't overwhelming. It's gentle, thoughtful, almost meditative. Exactly the kind of place where your mind can drift, where your breathing naturally becomes slower, deeper. This is your first real step into Switzerland, and already it feels like a dream you're gently walking into. You walk out of the main station and step into the heart of Zurich, and immediately the city feels like a deep breath. The air is crisp, cool, and clean, almost as if it has been filtered through pine forests and glacial winds before reaching your lungs. It wakes you up gently, but not abruptly. Feels pure. In front of you, the Limmat River flows like a ribbon of pale turquoise, moving with a rhythm so calm it almost seems to breathe with you. The water is clear enough that you can see stones at the bottom, softened by years of gentle currents. Sunlight rests on the surface, shimmering in tiny specks, like thousands of quiet stars floating just beneath the surface. You cross a small bridge, listening to the soft sound of water gliding beneath your feet. Zurich's old town rises around you with its narrow cobblestone streets and pastel-colored buildings. Some are painted soft yellow, others light blue or cream, all with charming shutters and delicate window boxes. Everything feels thoughtfully arranged, as if the city was designed to comfort the human eye. As you walk, you hear the faint echo of footsteps and distant conversations, never loud, always soft, blending seamlessly with the sound of the river. A church bell rings somewhere, slow and gentle, like a distant lullaby reminding you that time here moves differently. Doesn't rush. Flows. You continue down a narrow lane lined with tiny shops. One has shelves filled with handmade chocolates shaped like leaves and tiny mountains. Another offers candles with scents like alpine air, cedarwood, and warm vanilla. Their fragrance drifts into the street, mixing with the cool air and wrapping around you like a soft blanket. A bakery door opens, and a wave of warm bread-scented air reaches you. It's comforting in a way that feels almost nostalgic, like a memory of childhood mornings that you had forgotten, suddenly returning with perfect clarity. You stand there for a moment, letting that warmth touch your face. You decide to stop inside. The bakery is quiet, filled with the gentle sound of someone kneading dough in the back. You order a warm croissant, crisp on the outside, tender inside. When you take the first bite, flakes fall softly onto your fingertips. The buttery flavor melts almost instantly on your tongue, and you realize that even something as simple as a pastry feels like part of Switzerland's calm, deliberate way of life. You step back outside, croissant in hand, and continue walking. The morning light grows stronger, but it's soft, filtered through patches of fog and the gentle glow bouncing off the river. Zurich wakes slowly around you. Cyclist glides past quietly. A small dog trots by its owner, tiny paws tapping softly against the stone. A cafe owner unfolds chairs with slow, rhythmic movements. You stroll toward the Lindenhof, a high terrace overlooking the city. Walking up the gentle slope, you feel the ground shift beneath your feet from stone to gravel. And then you reach the top. The view opens in front of you like a painting. The old town's rooftops stretch gently toward the water. The river curves below, reflecting the pastel houses perfectly. In the distance, faint and dreamlike, you can just make out the outline of the Alps, a soft silhouette against the pale morning sky. As you stand there, a breeze brushes past your cheeks. It feels cool, delicate, almost like a hand gently guiding you into a deeper calm. The world is quiet from up here. Sounds soften, thoughts soften, even your heartbeat feels slower. For a moment you simply stand still, breathing, looking, drifting. This is Zurich welcoming you, not with noise or grandeur, but with gentle details, warm light, and a silence that invites your mind to rest. From the hilltop terrace of Lindenhof, you make your way slowly back down toward the river. The sun has climbed just a little higher, softening the coolness of the morning, but not enough to break the calm. Zurich feels like it's waking up in slow motion, stretching gently rather than rushing into the day. You stroll along the waterfront, following the curve of the Limmat as it drifts toward the lake. The air carries a faint scent of water and distant pine, and every breath feels like a quiet reset. As you walk, the river widens, opening into the calm expanse of Lake Zurich, a vast, shimmering mirror of pale blues and silvers. You decide to take one of the small boats that glide across the lake. Not a touristic rush, but a gentle cruise, something slow, simple, peaceful. You step aboard, and the wooden deck beneath your feet feels warm and reassuring. A soft hum vibrates through the boat as it begins to move, creating tiny ripples that spread outward like lazy circles. The city drifts away behind you, its pastel buildings reflecting softly on the water. You settle into a seat near the edge, letting your fingers rest lightly on the wooden rail. A light breeze touches your face, cool at first, then comforting as you adjust to it. The sound of the water against the hull is steady and rhythmic, like a heartbeat murmuring in the background. The boat glides past elegant villas with sloping gardens that reach toward the lake. Some homes have tiny private docks with rowboats tied gently to wooden posts. Others have small staircases disappearing into green hedges. Everything looks meticulously designed yet effortlessly natural. Swans drift across the surface near you, their feathers glowing in the soft light. They move with such grace that even the ripples they leave behind seem intentional. You watch them for a while, feeling your thoughts quiet down, becoming softer, smoother, matching the lake's slow rhythm. Further out, the lake opens wide, its surface merging almost seamlessly with the sky. The boundary between water and air blurs, creating a dreamy horizon that feels infinite. You lean back, letting the gentle rocking of the boat lull your body. Its sway feels like a slow exhale. Each sound, a whisper of wind, a splash of wave, carries you deeper into calm. In the distance, the Alps rise faintly, their snowy peaks softened by a delicate haze. They don't dominate the scene. They simply exist there, timeless and serene, like ancient guardians watching over the lake. Their presence is both grounding and soothing, reminding you of the quiet strength nature holds. Closer to shore, you pass small boathouses with wooden doors slightly ajar. Inside you see hanging lanterns, oars painted in soft colors, and neatly stacked ropes. Everything is orderly, as though each item has its own place in the world. The boat slows near a tiny lakeside town, buildings clustered like old friends, roofs sloping gently, windows framed with flowers. People stroll along the promenade with warm drinks in hand, their pace unhurried. Some sit on benches facing the water, simply watching the world drift by. Others chat softly, their laughter carried lightly by the wind. You stay on board, letting the boat continue its gentle loop across the lake. There's no need to get off yet. No need to do anything. You're exactly where you should be. On a quiet lake surrounded by mountains, floating in a moment that feels both real and dreamlike. As the boat turns back toward Zürich, the sun rests lower in the sky, casting soft reflections across the water like brushstrokes. You close your eyes for a moment, listening to the gentle splash of water and the distant call of birds. Your breath falls into rhythm with the lake's calm pulse. This journey isn't just a trip. It's a slow, peaceful drift into stillness. And Switzerland holds that stillness like a gift, offering it to you with every quiet wave. After the gentle lake cruise, you step back onto solid ground feeling lighter, as if some weight you didn't even know you were carrying has quietly dissolved. The air feels fresher now, cooler against your skin, carrying the pure scent of water and distant forests. You take one last look at the soft ripples of Lake Zurich behind you before heading toward the train station again, this time to leave the city and wander deeper into Switzerland. Inside the station, everything moves with the same quiet harmony you've already come to recognize. A soft hum, calm footsteps, the faint rustle of pages as someone turns a newspaper. You check the departure board. Your next destination, Lucerne, a place known for its medieval charm, still lake waters, and the Alps watching quietly from every horizon. The train arrives with that signature Swiss smoothness. You step aboard, finding a window seat where the world will unfold in front of you like a slow, gentle film. The doors close softly. The train begins to glide forward. Almost immediately, the scenery shifts. Zurich fades behind you, replaced by rolling green fields dotted with small wooden farmhouses. Their roofs slope gently, often with flower boxes decorating the windows. Even in cooler months, small bursts of color linger like whispers of spring. Pines and spruces stand tall along the edges of the fields, their dark silhouettes blending gracefully with the soft sky. The rhythm of the train is soothing. Not loud, not mechanical. More like a calm heartbeat beneath you, steady and reassuring. You rest your head lightly against the window. Every passing moment feels like a brushstroke of tranquility. You see cows grazing lazily, their bells chiming with soft, scattered rings, tiny distant notes that somehow reach your ears even inside the train. You notice small wooden barns painted in warm earthy tones, some leaning slightly from years of mountain winds. There are narrow paths cutting through meadows, where you imagine hikers passing quietly with backpacks and warm scarves, breathing the same pure alpine air you're drifting toward. From time to time, the train passes over small bridges. Beneath them, streams run so clear you can almost see each pebble on the riverbed. The water glistens under the pale sunlight, moving in little curls and whirlpools, as if sketching its own patterns. A small village approaches, and the train slows gently, never abruptly, always with grace. You glimpse houses clustered like old friends around a tiny church with a pointed tower. Smoke rises from a few chimneys, curling into the air in soft, wandering lines. People walk slowly, carrying bags from small local markets or simply enjoying the quiet. There is no rush, no noise, just a peaceful rhythm of everyday life. The train continues onward, climbing slightly now. You begin to see mountains more clearly, shadowy outlines becoming crisp, snow-capped ridges appearing through drifting patches of mist. Each peak looks like it has a personality of its own, some sharp and tall, others rounder and gentler, worn smooth by time. They stand silently, watching, ancient and comforting. The closer you get to Lucerne, the more the lake appears through the trees. Lake Lucerne is different from Zürich's. Deeper, surrounded by mountains that fall steeply into the water. From the train window, it looks almost like liquid silver, mirroring the sky in soft, shimmering reflections. You breathe deeply, letting the purity of the landscape wash over your thoughts. This journey is slow, gentle, grounding. Exactly what your mind needs. Switzerland doesn't overwhelm you. It draws you in, carefully, quietly, like a lullaby made of mountains and water. As the train begins its final approach to Lucerne, you feel yourself sinking into a deeper calm, as if the landscape is guiding you gently into a softer state of being. You're not just traveling, you're drifting into serenity. The train glides softly into Lucerne, and when the doors open, you step out into a city that feels like a story whispered through time. The air has a different quality here. Cooler, crisper, with a hint of mountain mist resting gently above the rooftops. You pause for a moment on the platform, taking a slow breath, letting the calm of this lakeside town seep quietly into you. You make your way toward the exit. Lucerne reveals itself gradually, like a curtain rising in slow motion. The first thing you notice is the lake, Lake Lucerne, stretching out beside the city, its surface smooth and reflective, as if holding a quiet conversation with the mountains surrounding it. The water carries a deep, serene blue, blending softly with the pale sky. You walk toward the old town, following the cobblestone paths that guide you with a gentle rhythm beneath your feet. Each stone feels like it has been placed with care, worn smooth by centuries of footsteps. The buildings around you rise in warm shades of cream, sand, and soft rose, their facades decorated with painted murals, stories of old trades, legends, and scenes from daily life. It feels as though the city itself is remembering everything for you. You soon reach the Chapel Bridge, Lucerne's most beloved landmark. As you step onto the wooden planks, they creak softly under your weight, an old, comforting sound. The bridge stretches diagonally across the Reuss River, its wooden beams darkened by history. Inside, a series of triangular paintings hang overhead, each one a window into Lucerne's distant past. The scent of aged wood lingers gently in the air, mixing with the faint aroma of the river below. Flowers spill over the edges of the bridge, bright reds, pinks, and purples, creating a soft contrast against the dark timber. You pause, leaning lightly over the railing. The water below flows quietly, carrying reflections of buildings, mountains, and passing clouds. The scene feels peaceful, almost meditative. Crossing the bridge, you enter a square surrounded by medieval houses, each adorned with shutters and balconies decorated with tiny potted plants. A small fountain trickles softly in the center, its sound blending perfectly with the hum of the town. Nearby, a group of locals sit outside a cafe, wrapped in light scarves, sipping warm drinks. Their conversation is low, gentle, as if the city itself encourages everyone to speak softly. You wander deeper into the old town, turning into narrow alleys lined with shops selling handmade crafts, wooden toys, Swiss knives, lacework, and small pieces of art. Every window feels like a glimpse into someone's quiet passion. A clockmaker's shop catches your eye. Inside, dozens of small gears shimmer under warm lighting. You watch them for a moment, each one ticking at its own pace yet part of a perfect, harmonious whole. It reminds you of Switzerland itself. Calm, precise, beautifully composed. The air cools slightly as you continue walking. Shadows stretch softly between the buildings, creating pockets of quietness where your footsteps echo lightly. You hear church bells ring again, distant and deep, as though they're calling your thoughts to slow down, to be present, to listen. Eventually you reach the lakeside promenade. The path curves gently along the water, lined with benches and elegant old lamps. You sit for a moment, letting your body relax completely. The lake lies before you like a sheet of still glass. Mountains encircle it, their peaks softened by a veil of thin clouds. A boat crosses the water far in the distance, its movement barely disturbing the surface. You close your eyes listening. The water laps softly against the shore. A light breeze brushes your cheeks. The world narrows down to the rhythm of nature, calming your mind with each silent moment. Lucerne feels timeless. Place built not just for living but for resting, for breathing, for drifting. Here, even your thoughts seem to settle gently, like snowflakes finding their place. As the afternoon light softens, you decide to continue your journey, this time toward the mountains that have been quietly watching you since you arrived. Lucerne feels like a warm embrace, but the peaks beyond it carry a different kind of calm. A deeper, older serenity that calls you gently, like a distant lullaby echoing across time. You walk toward the boat dock, where vessels leave for the base of Mount Pilatus. The lake shimmers with a silver glow now, the sun sitting low enough to cast long reflections across the surface. You step aboard a small, elegant boat, and as it pulls away from the shore, Lucerne slowly drifts behind you, its rooftops growing smaller, its warm colors blending with the mist hovering over the water. The lake stretches wide, encircled by mountains whose slopes taper down in soft gradients of green and gray. The boat cuts gently through the water, creating long, smooth ripples that fan outward until they disappear. You lean against the railing, feeling the cool spray on your fingertips, watching the world shift into deeper tranquility. As the boat travels farther, the mountains grow closer, taller, more defined. Their ridges are softened by patches of forest, deep evergreens mixed with lighter shades of moss and stone. Occasionally, you spot a small cabin perched midway up a slope, smoke curling softly from its chimney. It looks peaceful, solitary, like a place where time has stopped just to breathe. The sound of the boat is steady and low, blending seamlessly with the natural world around you. A gentle wind carries the scent of pine, cool rock, and lake water. You inhale deeply, letting the purity of the alpine air settle into your lungs. It feels refreshing and grounding, like your mind is slowly untangling itself, strand by strand. Eventually, the boat reaches the small village at the base of Mount Pilatus. You step onto the wooden dock, noticing how quiet everything feels, an almost sacred stillness. Wooden houses line the shore, their balconies covered with autumn flowers, even though the air carries a hint of winter. The streets are calm, with only the soft crunch of gravel under your shoes breaking the silence. You follow the path toward the cogwheel railway, the steepest in the world. The red train waits patiently, its windows reflecting the mountains above. As you board, the interior feels warm and cozy, like a safe cocoon preparing to lift you into the sky. The ascent begins slowly. The train tilts upward, climbing the mountain with quiet determination. You watch as the world below changes shape. Forests stretch out like green blankets. Rocky cliffs rise beside you, textured with moss and tiny alpine flowers. Streams tumble down the slopes in slender waterfalls, catching the light in fleeting bursts. Higher and higher you go. Each meter brings a new sense of peace. The air becomes cooler, cleaner, almost crystalline. Clouds drift so close you feel as if you could reach out and touch them. They move with such softness, like slow breaths passing across the mountain's face. From the window, you see tiny paths carved into the landscape, trails used by hikers who walk not for destination, but for the quiet journey itself. Farther up, the slopes become steeper, revealing the raw stone beneath layers of forest and snow. The peaks stand tall against the sky, ancient guardians watching over the valley below. The train finally reaches the upper station. You step out and suddenly the world expands in every direction. The air is cold enough to kiss your cheeks with a sharp yet comforting coolness. Clouds roll beneath you like waves, and the peaks around you pierce through them like islands rising from a sea of mist. You walk toward the viewing platform. The wind brushes gently against your ears, carrying a deep silence, one so pure it almost vibrates. From here the landscape feels endless. Mountains fade into the distance, each layer softer than the last. Lakes glimmer like pieces of sky fallen to earth. Everything looks serene, ancient, untouched. You close your eyes, letting the mountain air fill your lungs. Up here, the world feels suspended between earth and heaven. Thoughts drift away. Your mind quiets. Your breath slows until it matches the calm, steady pulse of the peaks surrounding you. You are standing on Mount Pilatus, above the clouds, wrapped in stillness, floating in one of the gentlest silences nature has ever created. You stand there for a moment on the viewing platform, letting the crisp alpine air settle into your chest. There's something profoundly calming about being above the clouds, something that untangles the mind in a way few places can. The world below feels distant, softened, as if wrapped in a blanket of mist. Up here, everything slows. Even your thoughts drift in long, gentle waves. You take a slow step toward the edge of the platform. The wind brushes past you like a cool whisper. Beneath your feet, you hear the faint crunch of frost on stone. And before you, the mountain range stretches endlessly, layer upon layer of ridges fading into pale blues and silvers. Each peak looks like a memory etched into the horizon. Clouds drift slowly below, moving like a quiet tide. They roll and curl against the lower slopes, glowing softly in the filtered sunlight. Every so often, a gap opens and reveals glimpses of forest or lake far below, tiny pieces of the world peeking through, reminding you of how high you've climbed. You walk along a narrow path beside the main platform, a trail made of smooth stone and lined with simple railings. It curves gently around the mountain, offering new views with each step. Here the silence deepens. You hear nothing but the wind, the soft crunch of gravel under your shoes, and the distant call of a bird carried across the sky. There is a small bench tucked against a rock wall. You sit, allowing your body to relax completely. The bench is cool, solid, grounding. You lean back slightly, letting the mountain cradle your thoughts. The air tastes pure, sharp but clean like water from a glacier stream. Every inhale feels like it washes something away. Tension, worries, noise. Every exhale feels like release. A cloud drifts upward, lifting with the wind until it envelopes you for a moment. You feel tiny droplets of moisture on your skin, light, refreshing, almost like a soft kiss from the sky. The world becomes hazy, blurred into gentle shapes. When the cloud moves on, the view returns clearer than before, as if the world blinked and opened its eyes again. You notice a narrow ridge in the distance, dotted with tiny patches of snow. A few hikers make their way along it, moving slowly, deliberately. Their colorful jackets stand out against the muted tones of stone and sky. Watching them feels oddly soothing, tiny figures tracing quiet lines across an enormous canvas. Behind you, the summit buildings sit quietly against the cliffside, their shapes blending into the rock. Even human architecture feels humble up here, softened by the presence of the mountain. There's no rush, no harsh movement, just harmony. You close your eyes again, and you listen. The wind whistles gently through crevices in the stone. A distant echo vibrates somewhere deep within the mountain's body. A single bird call pierces the silence and fades slowly into nothing. It feels like the world is singing, not loudly but softly, a lullaby made of air and earth. When you open your eyes, the sun has dipped slightly, casting long golden rays across the peaks. Shadows stretch softly, blending with the mist in graceful layers. The mountains glow as if lit from within, warm, ancient light painting every ridge with a tender touch. Here you feel unburdened, weightless, free. You're part of the quiet now, part of the mountain, part of the sky. And as the last traces of afternoon begin to mellow into evening, you stand once more, ready to descend, carrying this silence with you like a soft memory folded carefully into your mind. As the light begins to soften into the first tones of evening, you take one last long breath of the mountain air before walking back toward the station. The wind feels calmer now, almost gentle in its coolness, as if the mountain is bidding you a quiet, peaceful farewell. You step inside the descending gondola. The doors close with a soft hum, and the cabin begins to glide away from the summit. At first, all you see is sky, pale, delicate, stretched across the horizon like a soft watercolor. Then, slowly, the gondola dips beneath the cloud line, and the world reveals itself layer by layer. The landscape below is bathed in golden hues. The sun, low on the horizon, spills warm light across the forests and valleys. The trees glow softly, their greens deep and rich. Shadows extend gently behind ridges and rocks, creating wide, quiet shapes that blend into the deepening mist. The lakes in the distance gleam like patches of silver resting gently between folds of land. The gondola moves silently, swaying just enough to lull your mind into a dreamy state. You press your hand lightly against the glass window. It's cool to the touch, and the view feels almost unreal, like a slow-moving painting drawn by nature itself. Below you, tiny pathways wind through the trees, weaving delicate patterns through the forest. A small stream catches the sunlight, sparkling like a thin line of light stitched into the earth. As you descend farther, the world grows clearer. Houses begin to appear, small chalets tucked between slopes, their windows reflecting the warm glow of the evening sun. Smoke rises from a few chimneys, drifting lazily upward, softening into the cool air. The scene feels almost enchanted, as if time has slowed to let you savor every detail. Eventually, you reach the lower station. You step out, and the first thing you notice is the scent, a mix of pine, cool earth, and the faint sweetness of early evening. Feels grounding, familiar, comforting. You walk slowly toward the lake, where a boat waits to carry you back to Lucerne. The ride is quiet. The engine hums softly, barely disturbing the stillness of the lake. The water reflects the evening sky, turning shades of lavender, rose, and soft gold. You sit by the railing, resting your arms on the warm metal, feeling the gentle vibration of the boat beneath you. Small waves ripple outward in smooth arcs, glowing with the colors of the fading day. Then the city appears again, Lucerne now wrapped in the tender light of dusk. Street lamps cast warm halos over the cobblestones. The chapel bridge glows softly, its wooden frame illuminated like a lantern floating above the water. Reflections shimmer beneath it, creating long ribbons of gold that stretch and sway with the current. You step off the boat and begin walking along the lakeside promenade. The air is cooler now, carrying a delicate chill that brushes against your skin in a way that feels peaceful rather than sharp. People pass by quietly, couples strolling hand in hand, someone walking a small dog, a group of friends speaking in low, gentle tones. Shops are closing, their warm lights flickering softly as doors are locked. Cafes glow from the inside, where a few guests linger over warm drinks, their silhouettes relaxed and unhurried. The city feels like it has settled into a comfortable sigh. You cross the chapel bridge once more. The wooden planks feel familiar beneath your feet. Lanterns line the interior, filling the walkway with a warm golden light. The sound of your steps echoes softly, blending with the distant ripple of the river. When you reach the other side, the sky has shifted into a deeper blue. Stars peek through the fading layers of dusk. The calm is absolute. You walk slowly, feeling the peaceful atmosphere wrap around you like a soft blanket. Lucerne at night is not loud, not bright. It's gentle, quiet, and deeply soothing. Exactly what your mind needs. Exactly where your thoughts can rest. And as you head back toward your hotel, the city's warm glow follows you, guiding you like a friend through the soft edges of the evening. You make your way through the softly lit streets, moving slowly, letting the gentle night settle into your body. Lucerne feels even more peaceful now. The sounds are faint, almost tender. Distant footsteps on cobblestones, the quiet murmur of the river, the soft clinking of dishes being cleaned in a nearby cafe. Everything blends into a calming soundtrack that seems created just for you. Your hotel sits near the lakeside, a cozy building with warm lanterns hanging above the entrance. When you step inside, you're greeted by the scent of polished wood and a faint hint of chamomile tea drifting from somewhere deeper in the lobby. The lighting is low, golden, and soft, perfect for easing your mind into the comfort of evening. You check in, your voice naturally lowering to match the atmosphere. The receptionist speaks gently, offering a warm smile and handing you a simple brass key. Not a plastic card, an actual key, cool and smooth in your palm. It feels comforting, grounding, like a small invitation to slow down. You walk down the quiet hallway, your steps cushioned by a soft carpet that muffles every sound. The walls are decorated with old black and white photographs of Lucerne, boats on the lake, snowy peaks, children feeding swans. They feel timeless, almost like memories you've somehow inherited. Inside your room, everything is simple and warm. A large window faces the lake, and when you draw the curtains aside, the view glows. The city lights shimmer across the water, stretching into soft golden paths. The mountains in the distance form dark silhouettes against the starry sky. The lake itself is calm, barely moving, like a sheet of polished stone reflecting fragments of the night. You sit on the edge of the bed, letting your shoulders relax fully for the first time today. The mattress is soft, welcoming. You untie your shoes slowly, as if signaling to your body that it's finally time to unwind. The room is silent except for the faint hum of the evening breeze brushing against the window. You pour yourself a glass of water and take a slow sip. The taste is incredibly pure, cold, clean, refreshing. It's as if the mountains themselves poured it for you. You breathe deeply, the cool air filling your chest, calming your thoughts. Before lying down, you crack the window open just a little. The gentle chill of the Swiss night drifts in, carrying with it the distant scent of lake water and pine. You can hear a faint ripple on the shore below, a soft swan call in the distance, and the quiet rustle of leaves fluttering lightly in the breeze. You slip under the blanket and let the warmth wrap around your body. Feels like a cocoon, soft, safe, comforting. You rest your head on the pillow. Its softness absorbs the last tensions you held in your neck and shoulders. Your breathing naturally slows, each inhale deeper and calmer than the last. Outside, the stars shimmer above the mountains. A few clouds drift across the sky, illuminated faintly by the moon. The world feels unhurried, balanced, peaceful. You close your eyes. The rhythm of the lake, the whisper of the wind, and the distant lullaby of Lucerne blend together, rocking your mind gently back and forth. Your thoughts soften, stretching out like fog rolling over quiet water. Tonight, you rest with the mountains watching over you, the lake breathing softly below, and the city offering you its warm, tender silence. You fall asleep knowing that tomorrow, Switzerland will reveal even more of its quiet magic. But for now, your only job is to drift. And drift. And drift. You wake gently, not to an alarm, but to the soft glow of a quiet Swiss morning. The light filtering through the curtains is pale and silky, like the sky is slowly stretching awake. For a few moments you simply lie there, feeling the warmth of the blanket and the softness of the pillow, letting your body emerge from sleep naturally, without hurry. When you finally rise, you walk toward the window and pull the curtains aside. The world outside is wrapped in a thin veil of mist. Lake Lucerne lies still and silent, reflecting the muted tones of dawn. The mountains appear half-drawn, faint outlines in the hazy morning light, as if the day is gently sketching them back into existence. You open the window a little wider. Cool air touches your face, carrying the fresh scent of dew on grass, lake water, and distant pine. Somewhere a church bell rings, soft, slow, like a calm heartbeat welcoming the new day. After getting ready, you step outside with your small bag. The streets are quiet, washed clean by the morning air. A few early risers stroll along the promenade, their steps gentle, matching the tranquil rhythm of the lake. Swans glide nearby, leaving delicate ripples behind them. You make your way back to the train station, passing the chapel bridge once more. Its wooden beams glow softly in the early light, and flowers still hang from the edges, their colors subdued but lovely in the morning mist. At the station, you board a train to Interlaken, a journey known for its breathtaking beauty. You find a window seat again, letting the landscape unfold in front of you like a new chapter. The train begins its journey, gliding quietly out of Lucerne. Soon, the scenery opens into wide meadows covered in morning dew. Each blade of grass sparkles faintly as the first rays of sunlight stretch across the fields. Wooden chalets sit scattered across the hillsides, their roofs sloping gently, smoke rising lazily from a few chimneys. You lean your head against the window, feeling a soft vibration beneath your cheek. The rhythmic hum of the train becomes soothing, blending perfectly with the passing scenery. You watch as cows graze peacefully, their bells ringing in soft, irregular patterns, tiny melodies drifting through the morning air. The closer you get to the mountains, the more dramatic the landscape becomes. Cliffs rise abruptly beside the tracks, textured with moss and streaks of stone. Waterfalls tumble down from great heights, thin and shimmering, disappearing into mist before reaching the ground. Some look like silver threads woven into the mountainside. The train enters a valley, and suddenly the world grows wider. Rivers wind through the landscape like clear ribbons, catching the light in soft flashes. The water is so pure you can see the stones beneath, smooth and colorful. Small villages sit tucked into the valleys, surrounded by fields and forests. Everything looks peaceful, untouched, like pages from a quiet storybook. As you approach Interlaken, the peaks begin to dominate the horizon. Massive, ancient, snow-dusted. They rise like silent guardians, their presence powerful yet calming. They don't overwhelm, they soothe. Their stillness feels steady, grounding, like a deep breath held gently in the sky. When the train slows and finally arrives in Interlaken, you step out into a world shaped by mountains. The air here is cooler, sharper, carrying the scent of glacier melt and pine forests. The town sits between two lakes, Lake Thun and Lake Brienz, each with its own soft, shifting colors. You pause for a moment on the platform, letting the mountain air fill your lungs. Feels clean. Feels ancient. Feels alive. This place is different, a gateway to peaks, valleys, and quiet alpine magic. And as you stand there, you realize your journey is about to enter its most peaceful, dreamlike chapter yet. You step out of the station and into Interlaken's calm embrace. The town feels open, spacious, almost like a gentle valley carved perfectly between two shimmering mirrors of water. The air here is cool and crisp, carrying a faint hint of pine and fresh earth. You breathe it in slowly, feeling it clear your mind with each inhale. As you walk toward the center of town, the streets unfold in soft, quiet lines. Wooden chalets with carved balconies line the roads, their flower boxes overflowing in colors that soften the rugged mountain backdrop. The town feels like a peaceful pause between two worlds, the calm of the lakes and the quiet power of the mountains. You wander toward the Hochweg, Interlaken's long, grassy promenade. The path stretches like a green ribbon through the middle of town, bordered by trees whose leaves rustle gently in the breeze. And then you see it. The Jungfrau. Tall, majestic, wrapped in snow that glows faintly under the midday light. The mountain stands like a silent guardian watching over the valley. Its presence is calming rather than overwhelming, as if reassuring you that everything here moves at a slower, softer rhythm. You sit on a bench along the path. The grass sways lightly. Birds hop close by, pecking at tiny seeds. The distant murmur of conversation blends with the sound of carriage wheels from a nearby horse-drawn ride. It all feels peaceful, old-fashioned, timeless. After a moment, you continue walking toward the edge of town, where the Aare River begins its journey between the two lakes. The water is impossibly clear, an icy turquoise that looks almost unreal. It moves with a gentle current, rippling in delicate patterns as it glides beneath small bridges. You lean over the rail, watching the river carry fragments of light across its glassy surface. You follow the riverbank, your footsteps crunching softly along the gravel. The sunlight filters through the branches overhead, scattering little patches of warmth across the path. At times, you catch glimpses of Lake Brienz in the distance, a brilliant blue, brighter and deeper than anything you've seen so far. It shimmers with a crystalline purity that feels almost magical. You stroll onward, taking in the slow pulse of Interlaken. The town doesn't rush. It invites you to wander without direction, to let your thoughts loosen like threads drifting into open air. Every step feels unhurried, every sound softened by the mountains surrounding you. Eventually, you find yourself in a small square filled with cafes and wooden benches. The scent of warm pastries floats through the air. Vanilla, cinnamon, freshly baked dough. You step into a quiet bakery and order something simple, a warm apple tart. When you take your first bite, the flavors melt softly on your tongue, sweet and comforting. The moment feels cozy, grounding, like a warm hand placed gently on your back. After your small treat, you continue exploring. Tiny shops line the streets, selling handmade candles, wooden carvings, smooth stones polished by riverbeds, and small bells with gentle chimes that ring like distant memories of alpine meadows. You notice how the mountains seem to shift as you walk, their shapes changing subtly depending on your angle. Sometimes they look sharp and imposing, other times soft and rolling. But always they remain steady, ancient, protective. As the afternoon drifts toward evening, the sunlight becomes gentler, brushing the rooftops with gold. Long shadows settle across the valley, stretching quietly as the world prepares to wind down. You walk back toward the river one more time. The water glows now, reflecting the colors of the sky. Pale oranges, soft pinks, fading blues. You sit on a low stone wall and simply watch it flow. There's no rush, no noise, just the steady, soothing rhythm of the current. Interlaken feels like a deep breath held between two lakes, a place where nature asks nothing of you except to slow down and listen and be. You let the calm of the moment settle into you, knowing that tomorrow, the mountains will call you even higher into their quiet world. The next morning, you wake to a sky brushed with soft hues of blue and peach. The air in Interlaken is cool and refreshing, as if the valley itself inhaled deeply overnight and is now slowly exhaling into the new day. You take a quiet walk to the station, your footsteps light, your mind calm. Today, you're heading into one of the most peaceful valleys in Switzerland, Lauterbrunnen. The train glides into motion with its familiar, soothing rhythm. You settle by the window once again, letting the world unfold beyond the glass. As you leave Interlaken behind, the landscape begins to narrow, guiding you into a long, gentle valley surrounded by towering cliffs. The scenery shifts into something dreamlike. Mountains rise steeply on either side, their faces textured with layers of stone, moss, and cascading greenery. Between them, the valley stretches forward like a soft corridor carved by time. The river that runs through it shimmers with a pale blue glow, fed by countless streams and waterfalls. Then you see them, the waterfalls. They appear like delicate silver ribbons tumbling down the cliffs, some thin and gentle, others tall and graceful. One of the most striking, the Starback Falls, drops from such a height that the water turns to mist before touching the ground. As the train passes, sunlight catches the falling droplets, turning them into drifting particles of light. The sight is calming, almost hypnotic, like watching snow fall in slow motion. The train slows as you approach Lauterbrunnen station. You step off, and immediately the valley greets you with a breathtaking stillness. The air is different here, cooler, purer, carrying the scent of waterfalls, wet stone, and alpine grass warmed by early sun. You feel it in your chest, settling your breathing into a slower, softer rhythm. Lauterbrunnen village sits gently at the valley floor, nestled between the massive cliffs that rise like ancient walls. Wooden houses with sloping roofs and flower boxes line the narrow streets. Their shutters are painted in earthy tones, adding quiet charm to the scene. Everything feels intimate, untouched, and deeply peaceful. As you walk through the village, you hear the faint sound of water everywhere, not loud, not forceful, but present in a soothing, continuous whisper. The river flows beside the path, moving with a calm, steady pace. Over it, small wooden bridges connect one side of the village to the other, each one gently curved and framed by bright flowers. You continue walking until you reach a grassy meadow at the valley's edge. The mountains rise so high that the sky feels like a narrow ribbon stretched between them. Sunlight pours through in soft beams, illuminating the mist drifting from the waterfalls. It all feels almost unreal, as if you've stepped into a place where time moves slower and nature speaks in quiet, steady breaths. You sit on a wooden bench facing the valley. A breeze moves across the grass, carrying the cool spray of distant falls. The sound of water blends with the soft rustling of leaves. A few birds glide through the narrow sky above, their calls echoing gently between the cliffs. As you sit there, you feel something shift inside you, an ease, a clarity, a calm that feels both refreshing and ancient. The valley's silence isn't empty. It's full of life, full of movement, full of stories whispered in water and stone. You close your eyes for a moment, letting all of it wash over you. The cool air, the gentle mist, the steady whisper of falling water. Lauterbrunnen feels like a cradle, soft, protective, timeless. And here, in this quiet valley carved by glaciers and held gently by mountains, you sense that your journey deeper into the Alps is just beginning. From Lauterbrunnen's quiet valley floor, you make your way toward the small cable car station at the edge of the village. The air is cool and clean, carrying the scent of wet grass and waterfall mist. The cliffs above you rise like ancient guardians, protecting the valley in a deep, serene silence. Today you're ascending into the mountains, to Mürren, a car-free alpine village perched high above the world. The cable car waits with its doors open, gently swaying. You step inside, feeling the smooth metal beneath your hand as you hold the railing. A soft chime announces departure, and the car begins to glide upward with a slow, graceful motion. As you rise, Lauterbrunnen shrinks beneath you. Tiny houses, small winding paths, and the delicate curve of the river blending into a peaceful tapestry. The waterfalls become even more dramatic from above, thin streams of light dancing down massive stone walls. The valley floor lies draped in morning sunlight, glowing like a soft quilt of green. Higher and higher you go. The air changes, cooler, sharper, but refreshing. The cable car reaches the next station, and you transfer to a mountain train that looks almost playful, painted in bright alpine colors. You take a seat by the window. The train begins its slow climb along the mountain's edge. The landscape grows more intimate now. Wooden chalets appear along the hillside, nestled among fields of wildflowers. Cows graze lazily, their bells ringing in gentle, scattered tones, distant chimes drifting across open air. The meadows sway in slow waves with each passing breeze. Everything feels soft, calm, unhurried. Soon the world opens again. Jagged peaks rise around you. Massive, snow-covered, ancient. These aren't just mountains. They are monuments of stone and time. The Eiger, Munch, the Jungfrau. Their presence is comforting, steady, eternal. The train slows as it enters Mürren, and when you step out, it feels like stepping into a dream floating above the earth. Mürren is quiet, peaceful, suspended between sky and stone. There are no cars, only small paths winding between wooden houses with dark cedar walls and bright window boxes. The silence is pure, broken only by the wind brushing through grasses and the distant rush of waterfalls far below. You walk along a narrow path that curves toward a viewpoint. The air up here feels soft in your lungs, thin but clean, almost crystalline. The scent of pine and high-altitude soil drifts gently with each breath. When you reach the viewpoint, the world feels impossibly wide. The valley lies thousands of feet below, veiled in mist. The cliffs drop sharply, then melt into green slopes and tiny clusters of chalets. Across from you, the great mountains stand illuminated by afternoon light. Snow glitters like powdered silver across their ridges. Shadows move slowly across their faces, like the quiet turning of a page. You sit on a wooden bench facing the peaks. The world is silent except for the faint rustle of the wind. You breathe deeply, letting the calmness of the mountains fill you. Time feels different here, slower, deeper, more spacious. Your thoughts loosen and drift like clouds. The worries you brought with you from home feel small, distant, almost forgotten. A soft breeze lifts strands of your hair. The sun warms your face. Somewhere a faint cowbell echoes. A bird calls from a pine tree above you. All the sounds blend into a gentle alpine lullaby. After a while, you continue wandering through Mürren. The houses are charming, each with its own character. Wooden fences line tiny gardens filled with herbs and flowers. Small fountains made of stone trickle with meltwater from the cliffs above. You pause near one of these fountains, cupping your hands to taste the cold mountain water. It's unbelievably pure, sharp, refreshing, alive. You feel it spread through your body like crisp light. As evening approaches, the sky turns soft shades of amber and rose. The snow on the peaks glows warmly, as if lit from within. You watch the colors shift slowly, gently, like a watercolor painting blending into night. Mürren feels like a village built not just in the mountains, but inside a cloud. Quiet, gentle, held softly above the world. And as the day fades, you realize you're carrying a stillness inside you that wasn't there before. A calm born from height, silence, and the ancient breath of the Alps. As the sun slips gently behind the peaks, Mürren begins to glow with the soft, honeyed light of early evening. The wooden chalets reflect warm shades of amber, their windows radiating a quiet, homely warmth. Far below, the valley sinks slowly into shadow, while the mountains around you remain crowned with the last golden traces of the day. You walk along the narrow paths of the village, your steps slow, unhurried. The air has turned cooler, crisp in a way that feels refreshing rather than cold. It carries the scent of pine, stone, and faint wood smoke drifting from a chimney. Everything feels peaceful, so peaceful that your breath naturally falls into a calm, steady rhythm. You find a small inn perched right at the edge of a cliff, its terrace facing the mountains. A soft lantern hangs above the door, swaying gently in the alpine breeze. You step inside to a quiet, warmly lit dining room. The wooden tables glow under low lamps, and a few guests speak in whispers, as if the mountains outside have taught everyone to respect the silence. You order something simple and comforting, a warm vegetable soup with fresh alpine herbs. The first spoonful warms your chest, spreading slowly through your body like a soft wave. Outside, the sky shifts into deeper shades of violet and blue. Stars begin to appear, first a few, then many, scattered across the darkness like tiny lanterns hung one by one. After dinner, you step back outside onto the terrace. The night air wraps around you, cool and gentle. You walk toward the railing and look out across the valley. The silhouettes of the mountains stand tall against the deepening sky, their peaks illuminated by moonlight. The sound of distant waterfalls echoes faintly, softened by the night. The world feels vast but intimate, silent but full. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the night settle into your senses. The only sounds are your breath, the faint rustle of the wind, and the quiet pulse of nature around you. Later, when you return to your room, the window is already open slightly. A cool breeze drifts through, carrying the crisp purity of high-altitude air. You turn off the lights, leaving only the soft glow of the moon filtering in. You lie down on the bed, the blanket wrapping around you like a warm cocoon. The mattress absorbs the weight of your body, inviting your muscles to relax fully. You take a slow breath, then another, letting everything unwind. Through the open window, you can hear the sound of the mountains settling into night. A distant waterfall, a soft whisper of wind along the ridge, the gentle creak of wooden beams adjusting to the temperature drop. These sounds don't disturb you. They lull you deeper into calm, into a quiet space where dreams begin to form. You gaze at the stars one last time, their gentle glow shimmering through the window frame. You think of everywhere you've been, Zurich's calm rivers, Lucerne's pastel reflections, the still waters of the lakes, the hushed heights of Mount Pilatus, the waterfall-washed valley of Lauterbrunnen, and finally the peaceful village of Mürren. Each place has given you something: stillness, clarity, breath, space. Now they all fold together inside your mind, a soft landscape of memories drifting like clouds. Your eyelids grow heavy, your breathing slows. Your body sinks deeper into the warmth of the bed. Outside, the Alps keep watch, steadfast, ancient, kind. And as you finally let go, sliding into the soft darkness of sleep, it feels as though the entire country is whispering, "Rest now. Dream gently. You are safe here." Switzerland fades softly into your dreams. A land of quiet lakes, high peaks, and peaceful valleys, waiting for you to return whenever your mind needs calm, whenever your heart needs space, whenever your spirit needs to breathe. Good night, traveler, and may the mountains hold your dreams.